The jungle was too quiet. Not the ordinary hush of night, where frogs croaked and cicadas sang, and the wind carried whispers through the bamboo and ceiba trees. No, this was the silence of tension, the pause of a world holding its breath. High in the canopy, parrots shifted uneasily on their perches. In the undergrowth, deer froze mid-step, their ears flicking, their nostrils wide. The air was thick, heavy, expectant. Something was moving in the dark. The shadows rippled, and from them emerged Nyoka, a black panther whose coat devoured the moonlight. To look at him was to look at absence, at the space between stars, at a darkness too alive to be ignored. His eyes, however, burned gold, twin embers that pierced the gloom. They scanned the jungle with patient hunger, though hunger was not the only fire within him. Nyoka was not yet a legend. He was young, his muscles still stretching into their power, his stride still finding silence. But from the moment he was born, deep in the roots of a ceiba tree, he was different. His mother knew it. His cries were louder, his grip firmer, his gaze sharper than any cub she had raised. When other newborns whimpered, Nyoka glared at the world as though daring it to test him, and the world accepted the challenge. From his first days, danger pressed close. Jaguars ruled the rivers, their roars shaking the earth. Anacondas as thick as tree trunks slid silently beneath the water. Crocodiles patrolled the shallows, and humans, strange and unpredictable, carved deeper into the forest each season with their fires and steel. To live in such a place meant becoming shadow itself. Nyoka's mother taught him to move with the wind, to strike without sound, to disappear before danger could find him. But lessons can only prepare, experience must carve the rest. One humid night, when Nyoka was scarcely more than a cub, he followed his mother on a hunt. The air reeked of rain, and thunder grumbled in the distance. A family of capybaras grazed near the riverbank, their movements sluggish in the heat. Nyoka's muscles coiled, his claws flexed. His mother moved first, her body a ghost. She sprang, swift and flawless, but in that instant, the river erupted. A crocodile lunged, its jaws gaping, its teeth flashing. The capybaras scattered in terror. Nyoka's mother twisted free, but not fast enough. The crocodile's teeth closed around her flank. She roared, a sound that tore through the night. Nyoka froze. His instincts screamed to run, to vanish into the trees. But something deeper rooted him to the ground. He watched as his mother fought, claws tearing, jaws snapping. With a violent thrash, she tore herself free, limping and bleeding but alive. She staggered toward the trees, and only then did Nyoka move, pressing against her side, guiding her back into the shadows. That night, as rain fell heavy and relentless, Nyoka lay beside his mother, her breath ragged, her eyes dim. She licked his head once, slowly, then closed her eyes. By dawn, she was gone. Nyoka's life as a cub ended in that moment. He was alone but not broken. The jungle carved him sharp and merciless. Hunger gnawed at his ribs. He stalked insects, frogs, lizards, anything his growing body could catch. He fought off vultures from scraps of carrion. He learned patience the hard way, waiting hours in silence for a chance at prey, failing again and again until silence became second nature. Every mistake, every wound, every pang of hunger honed him into what he was destined to become, the unseen hunter, the black ghost of the canopy. In time, Nyoka grew into his power. His shoulders rippled with muscle, his stride flowed like water. He could move through undergrowth without stirring a leaf, climb trees with the silence of a whisper, leap farther than the eye could follow. The jungle no longer ignored him, it respected him. Tapirs fell to his strike, monkeys shrieked at his presence, even jaguars hesitated when they caught his scent. Yet Nyoka's story was not only about prey and predator. The jungle itself was alive, and he felt its pulse as if it beat within him. He lay for hours listening to cicadas hum in unison, to frogs croak in rhythm with the rain. He drank from rivers that carried the forest's lifeblood, rested in branches that had stood for centuries. The jungle was not merely his home, it was his mirror, his equal, his destiny. But destiny is never free of trial. One season, famine came, the rains failed. Rivers shrank to muddy trickles, fish vanished, and prey grew thin and desperate. Nyoka's hunger returned, sharp and merciless as it had been in his youth. He prowled farther than ever, into lands claimed by rival predators. One night, beneath a starless sky, he crossed paths with a jaguar, larger and older, its golden coat scarred from years of battle, their eyes locked to kings, one throne. The fight was silent at first, circling, waiting, testing. Then, with a flash of claws, it erupted. The jungle exploded with roars and snarls, leaves shredded, earth torn. Nyoka fought with fury, his muscles driving, his teeth tearing. The jaguar struck like thunder, its claws raking deep across Nyoka's flank. Pain flared, blood spilled, but Nyoka's fury burned brighter. With a final surge, he clamped his jaws upon the jaguar's throat and drove it to the ground. The struggle ceased. Silence returned. Nyoka limped away, victorious but wounded. For days he licked his wounds beneath the roots of his birth tree, fevered and weak. He dreamed of fire and shadows, of his mother's eyes, of rivers running red. Yet when he rose again, scarred but unbroken, the jungle knew his reign was real. He had carved his place not by birthright, but by blood. Seasons turned, rain returned, prey fattened. Nyoka grew older, stronger, slower in body but sharper in mind. He became a presence, unseen but felt. The animals of the jungle adjusted their lives around him. He was not just predator, he was balance, a shadow that maintained the order of life. His legends spread like mist, whispered in the rustle of leaves, carried in the call of birds. Then came fire. It started with humans, a spark, a torch, a slash of flame meant to clear land for crops. The dry season carried it like a beast unleashed. Flames licked the undergrowth, devoured trunks, roared through the canopy. The sky turned black, the air choking with smoke. Animals fled in chaos, parrots screaming, deer bounding, monkeys leaping in terror. Nyoka did not flee. He moved through the smoke, his coat glowing orange, his eyes twin embers in the inferno. He carried cubs in his jaws, not his own, but those abandoned in panic. He led frightened prey animals toward the river, their instincts warring with terror, yet somehow they followed. Predator and prey dissolved in the fire's rowanly survival remained. At the riverbank, Nyoka stood, soaked in ash, his muscles trembling. Behind him, the forest burned, a wall of fire consuming everything, but around him gathered life. Deer trembling but alive, birds shaking soot from their feathers, cubs pressed against their mothers. The jungle was scarred, but it lived, because he had endured. When the rains finally came, hissing upon the embers, Nyoka lay beneath them, his body weary, his eyes burning with something deeper than survival. He had not only hunted, not only fought, he had preserved. He was no longer merely shadow. He was spirit. Years passed, his pace slowed, his muzzle grayed. Scars webbed his body like maps of survival, yet his presence never dimmed. He climbed 2 cliffs above the jungle and watched the canopy ripple like a living sea, green and endless. He saw young panthers claim their territories. New life returned to the valleys, the forest heal its wounds. At dawn one day, as mist curled like smoke around his paws, Nyoka stood tall, his golden eyes glowing as the sun rose. The jungle spread below him, vast, eternal, alive. He breathed deeply, drawing its spirit into himself, and for a moment, predator and forest were one. Then, with a final stride, he vanished into the trees, his shadow blending into shadow. He left behind no roar, no trace, only legend. Nyoka was gone, but the jungle still whispered his name, and in every ripple of shadow, in every rustle of leaves, in every heartbeat of life, he remained. Nyoka, the shadow of the jungle, eternal, unseen, undying.